if I had the time, I would do bloopers, because I don't know how many times I've done this intro and just like shut it down halfway through. But okay, anyway. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bahi, also known as Siba, and today I'm giving you a clean makeup look. I'm giving you back to school, back to work ready. As you know, some of the unis in South Africa are starting school, I think next week, if not in 2 weeks time. And you know, people are back at work, so we're getting into the swing of things, of, you know, work routine, school routine. And so I want to give you guys a makeup look that's time friendly. I'm giving you tips and tricks as to how I get to my face to look seamless without wasting too much time. So yeah, get into it. I hope you like, I hope you subscribe, I hope you support, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Tips that I know: I'm not a professional makeup artist. I didn't learn any course about makeup or anything, but these are just things that I've learned over time from just doing my own face, you know. So yeah, but anyway, so I'm using my MAC brow pencil. It's called the MAC Velux brow liner in the shade Taupe, or Taupe. Yeah, and there's this little sound beater, but in the shade Taupe. You know, for this tutorial, we're doing a back to school, back to work. So obviously you'd be doing it at a time we're in a rush or things are hectic, but you just want something that's quick for in and out, but also long lasting for the full day. So you want to get products that are good quality, that will give you that longevity for the full day. So what I do is I line the underside of my eyebrows. I think now we've kind of just outgrown the ombre darker eyebrow thing, but if it's still your thing, then it's fine. But I think we've just kind of, as a people, as a society, I think we've just moved away from it a bit. So I've lined the top as well of my eyebrows, as you've just seen, and then I'm just going to fill them in fully but evenly. So instead of having a dark tail and then going lighter towards the front and then blending it together, we're going to have the same shade carried throughout. So I usually start at the tail, because I've got less hairs here as compared to at the front here. So I start at the tail, but I just go 1, 2. That's the one thing I like about this pencil, is that it is pigmented, it is good quality, and so you don't need to fill in too much, you know, because it really does the work for you. So like I was saying, but because you're in a rush or whatever, sometimes it might be a bit easier to consider doing microblading or brow laminations, where you wake up and your brows are already done and ready. So then I just brush up like that. So as you can see, I didn't really put too much, but it evenly goes through, because this brow pencil, like I said, is pigmented. So I just brush them up and go like so. So like I was saying, sometimes it is a bit easier to get your brows done professionally on the side, so that if you have to go, you have to get up and go. You don't really need to spend time doing your eyebrows, you know, especially if you're in a rush. Can't be that one day you woke up late and, you know, like you're struggling to get things done, no one's in a lunch, you know. So sometimes it's just easier if you have things done already. If you do false lashes, that also helps as well. I usually do that if I have money to do so, but usually if I don't, then I just do my brows on the side. But like I was saying, because I do a more cleaner eyebrow, then it doesn't really take that much to do them. Okay, so I'm gonna mix 2 concealers together. The first one is my LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Fawn. Guys, this staple, I think in the year the 2016s, 2017s, that was the staple of the concealers. And I think eventually we ventured out and found other concealers that actually work, but Leia was our top 2 as a people. So I'm gonna mix that concealer with my Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade 40, just this one over here. These concealers, what I like, they're actually really affordable. I think this one retails for just under 100 Rand, if it's not 110. And then the Fawn concealer, the last I checked, I think it was around 60 rand. So it is quite budget friendly, like I was saying. So it makes things a bit easier for you. So what I'll do is I'll clean one side of my brows just to make, I want to make this video as short as possible. So I'll clean one side of my brows with an angled brush, which is this one over here. If you have a smaller brush, it's actually perfect, but I think my brows, because they're a bit thicker, I want to get a bit more coverage. So I'll do one brow off camera, and then I'll do the other one with you to show you how I do. So I've already done the one brow, so it's now time to do the other one. I want to show you guys in real time how long it takes to do the one brow, so you can just times it by 2 to do the other one. So I try not to pick up too much product for my brows. I got this little thing that I mix it on at Shein. Guys, Shein is a plug when it comes to makeup utensils. So if you need makeup brushes, makeup sponges, you guys need to look into adding it on Shein, because it is quite affordable. This is like 20 rand. So I mean, if you're already buying clothes with 300, 400, 200 rand on Shein, you can opt to add this for like 20 rand. Come on. So this is how I do the underside of my brow. I did add a bit more product just to drag it down a little bit. But like I was saying, if you're not gonna put any, okay, I wasn't saying that, but like if you're not gonna put any eyeshadow, then you don't really need this much concealer. But I will add a bit more just to balance it out a bit. Oh, I put some on my eyelash. I put it too close to my eye actually. But I'm not bringing it too closer to my brow, so that I can blend it out easier next time. I try and remove as much as I can, to dab off as much as I can on my brush. Then I go to the top with the same product. So what you can do is, if you can, please just look at the technique of how I'm doing my brows on the top while I explain this to you. If you can, just try and use as minimal product as you can on the top of your brow. But preferably, like I was saying, if you can just opt to use your foundation. But if you're in a rush trying to get out of the house, the brush is already in your hand, the product's already here, you might as well just continue with it. Just add less at the top, right? Just add a bit less at the top, just to clean it out so that it also blends out nicely with your foundation. Now my brows aren't, they're not sisters entirely today. I think we have an older sister and a younger sister. They're not twins, but they're not cousins either. So as you see, I try and add a little bit of the top, so they're not as boxed in. Like, they're not those box brows that we used to have, you know, just look as natural as possible, you know. So like so. Now because I've had the concealer on top a little bit, I try by all means to make sure it stays a little bit, just so that it gives a bit more coverage and it looks a bit neater. I take my beauty blender, which I also got from Shein, and I really like the quality of it so far. Just to digress a little bit, this is what it looks like before you add water to it. So it does double in size as well, as you can see. So really do look into Shein to get your sponges. I'm just removing excess water from it with my towel, because I think now I also have a lot of things to do too, so I'm trying to get out the house as quickly as possible. But guys, load shedding is something that is just working against us as a people, because like this morning I was supposed to go to gym, and then I checked the schedule, they have load shedding. And when they have load shedding, it is pitch black. Like, it makes me uncomfortable. It is just dark, you know. Like, you can work in the cardio area, you can work in most areas of the gym, but obviously you can't use the machines, you can't use any of the cardio machines. You can just use weights and your skipping ropes, and that's it. But I just feel so uncomfortable being there when it's that dark. And then still you get the changing room areas where it's just pitch black. So if I'm there, the changing rooms by myself, showering, pitch black, and my phone is there, because obviously I use my phone to listen to music at gym. Now I have to play music out loud. If someone's stealing my phone, I can't run out of them because I'm naked. Come on. So I just get paranoid, I get uncomfortable with it. So I'm going to use my foundation that I'm going to use all over my face, which is my Revlon Color Stay foundation, powder foundation in the shade Caramel. So I'm going to use that. So as you can see, I'm tilting my eyes a bit up because I don't want to get any crease lines on my lid. So you blend it out like that, so you get as much product as you can on your thing. I know I look crazy, but this literally works for me. And then I dab it in like so, just on the lid, just on the lid. Now that you're already here, you can top a little bit on your brows, just a little bit, you know, just a little bit, so that they don't get as oily throughout the day. Okay, done. Next step, we have to do the base of our face. Now, it's very important to do the base of your face to make sure that the finish of a foundation looks good, and to also make sure that your foundation lasts a bit longer and doesn't, like, I don't want to use the word spread, but like kind of shifts. Remember, it's kind of just changing a bit on your face. So in summer, I like to use a matte foundation so that my face oils up a little bit later on in the day, if that makes sense. Like my face is a bit more matte and drier. Sorry about that. But matte and drier. And then eventually the oils of my natural skin oils come in a bit later. And then in winter, I use a more glowy foundation, if I would say. So, and then with the concealer, what's it I want to use? What's the word that I want to use? So in summer, I use a more matte foundation. So I'll go to my Estee Lauder, my double wear. I will use my MAC. And then in winter, I like to have a bit more of a glowy skin. So I will use a primer that's more glow enhancing, that's more of a, I wouldn't say gel base, but like more of a, the thing, I don't know because it's long. So I'm just trying to show you guys the foundations that I use, okay, and the primers that I use. Okay, so in summer, I usually go for my Revlon Color Stay Full Coverage Foundation, which is a matte one in the shade Toast. I know that sometimes I get a bit darker from summer, so towards winter I tend to use this one because of me getting darker and being out in the sun a bit more. And then I use my MAC foundation, my Studio Fix foundation in the shade NC46. I think this is what I'm going to use today. Then in the winter time, I like to stick to my Allegro Pro Coverage HD illuminating foundation in the shade Bronze, which is this one over here. My primers that I use today, I'll be using this one, which is a hydrating primer. It's the Elizabeth Arden Flawless Start Hydrating Serum Primer. Then in winter, I use my Essence Glow Boosting Pore Minimizing Primer, which is this one over here. As you can see, this is all pale because I've been using it for a while. So let's get into primer right now. Like I was saying, it's very good to have a good base for your foundation. So that also requires you to have a very good skincare routine for your foundation and for your skin in general, really. So I usually put on a hydrating, I usually use a hydrogel moisturizer for my face. So I use my Pond's Flawless Radiance hydrogel to moisturize my face. Then I'll use my Derm Opal sunscreen. Let it rest for a bit, then I start doing my makeup, because that alone, it's something that I didn't really look into, but ever since I started like making sure that I have a very good skincare routine, the texture of my skin comes through with my foundation and it ends up looking really, really good. So I'm just gonna moisturize this in. So you can see my sunscreen starting to come through there. I think the Captain Neatness part of me just likes to pack away things and I'm not using them. So I'm just putting my foundation onto this. I think it's just been sitting upright for too long, so it's going to take a while. See, it's not much that I've taken out, so I'm just going to use that and just mix it together over here. I'm probably not even going to use all of it, but okay, we'll see how it goes. Then yeah, we start to put that in. I know it looks kind of lighter, but it is going to oxidize and get and match my skin tone perfectly. So pack that in. It doesn't really matter which side of your face you start on, but yeah. So I add a little bit more on the side that I have more marks on. So I start over there and then I blend it out the rest of my face. You don't want to have a heavy hand when you're applying this, so you want to be as light as possible. So you can just use your 2 fingers or 3 or 4 like so, and just pat. Use your hand lightly, because once you have a heavier hand, then the product tends to shift. So you want to go as light as possible. I know it might feel silly when you're doing it at first, but you really want to go as light as possible, and then just tip over here, like you're just holding it over here, and then letting the sponge do its beauty blender, in this case, do its job. Yeah. Then again, whatever's left over on my sponge, because you notice my forehead's a little bit darker than the rest of my face, whatever's left over, I use that to blend it out, you know. So I mash it up with the concealer on the top of my brow. As you can see, I'm a bit darker, cleaned out on my forehead, so I don't want to put in too much and look hella crazy. You drag it a bit down towards obviously your neck, towards your ears, so it doesn't look like you're wearing a mask. So as I was saying, we're just doing a clean makeup look, so we don't have to go deep with the hectic foundations. But if you want extra coverage, you can add a bit more. So this is literally how much is left over. So I'm going to take a little bit, swipe a little bit, and just use it on this side where I have a bit more marks. So here, you know, and then just blend it out with the rest of my face. Essentially how I do my foundation. Now, if you're not really into concealing, highlighting, and contouring, then at this phase, you would just put your powder, you press powder, set your face, put setting spray, lip gloss, eyeliner, or mascara, or both, and go on with your day. But I like to, if I have a bit more time, I like to highlight and contour my face, because when you put on foundation, it removes those definitions you have on your face naturally. You just have a clean canvas to work with. So you kind of have to bring back the definitions and those highlights of your face again. You know, I hope that makes sense. So I'm gonna go with my LA Glow Pro concealer on my nose, like so. A little bit of my forehead, got a big forehead, so I don't want to use too much. Over here, just a little touch. Here. Then, oh sorry, I actually wanted to add a little bit here. So what I do is, I'll just go like so, whatever's left over, like so. Just bring that back in. Then what I'll do is, like I was saying, we're on our way to work, we're on our way to school, you want to get ready for class. Then I'll use the lighter one, not close to my inner eye, but like just above the one I use, because this one's a little bit lighter, like so. Then just put it on top like that, you know, just on top like that. Then yeah, if you have a bit more time, then you would sit and let it dry out. You can reverse contour. I'm not really good at reverse contouring, so I don't really do it. So I use my other sponge to blend everything out. I don't like how dry my lips are. Okay, so I use the other sponge that I had to blend it out. You could use the same sponge, but just use the other side, but it just that it makes your hands a bit more dirtier. So I'll use this second sponge to blend it out. So I usually start with, like, yeah, I want the highlighting, but if it's not as prominent, then it's okay, you know. So I start with my chin over here, like so. Yeah, I go over here, like so. I go with my nose, the bridge of my nose all the way up. I don't go all the way to here again, but like, you know, so when it was left over, I drag it down sometimes. And then I flatten it out just to blend out with the rest of my face. So I pull my face forward, then blend it out my forehead. I've been struggling a bit with content and what to upload onto my channel. Like, what do I like, what do I not like? Because at the end of the day, I also want to, as much as I know what I like to talk about and what I want to add value to on YouTube, but at the same time, I also want to try and get views. So there's that thing of wanting to do content that is going to attract views, but at the same time, there's also the thing of just being true to my heart and doing what I love, you know. And I love makeup. So why not start with what I actually love, and then everything else will fall into place. I'll speak about things eventually when I'm more comfortable with them. Because even I did a video where I was speaking about toxic relationships and breakups, and I just realized that it took me so long to get over those relationships, and the things that happened in there, my accountability in them, and how I helped participate, and how toxic they were, and how I was toxic as well, and how they were toxic, and still healing from those traumas, and still being triggered by the traumas that I experienced there. Now in my current relationship, where if something happens and I'm sebenzi, I'm the one that needs the extra reassurance. I'm the one that keeps questioning, but do you really love me? Can you, like, are you sure as compared to other girls? It's cool one. So I didn't feel like, plus the video was just taking forever to upload, so I was just like, maybe this is just a sign for me to just let go of this and not talk about it, because what healing does it bring to me? When yes, it's a message that I'm bringing out of things, something that I've gone through, but I'm still going through the healing process of it all. As much as I feel like I'm in the back end of the healing process, as I go through various stages in my life, but I don't need to discuss things that are going to trigger me or make me feel like I'm going backwards instead of going forwards, you know, in my life. Okay, so as you can see, I've fully blended it out. So I add a little bit more sometimes on the side of my nose, just to reverse contour my nose a little bit, to make my nose a bit more chiseled. So I can add a little bit more of that. So like so. So as you can see, it's nicely blended into my skin. And yeah. I'll be setting that highlight with my Revolution Luxury Banana Powder, which is this one here. If you're a bit on the darker side, then obviously use the deep banana shade. I used to use it until I realized that it's too deep for me. So yeah, so I pat it into my damp beauty blender, blow out the excess, and then I look up and pat it in like so. You don't need to bake and add all these extra things, because it can also have a tendency of just aging a person when it's done incorrectly. So if you're in a rush and it ends up aging you or making you look weird, then you're gonna spend more time removing it, right? And so you won't have time to remove it. Then you'll spend the rest of your day just hating how you look. So sometimes, honestly, like, less is literally more, you know. Less is more, you know. I think I added a little bit too much powder on my nose. I'm just gonna do that a little bit. Then but it's very important to have a light hand to bake. You look up a little bit, tilt your face so that you get into those creases, so you don't get those crease lines. Get into the inner corner so that you reverse contour your nose, you know, and then you're good to go. Then it's time to contour our face. So now to contour my face, I use my Revolution Ultra Sculpt and Contour Kit in the shade, is it medium? It says light to medium, I think. But with this one here, it's a bit dirty, but that's what it looks like. Look, it looks trash, but this is literally what it looks like. So I use the bronzing shade over here. So there's a bronzing shade, there's a highlight shade, and there's a blush shade. I tend to use this as my, what shade? No? I tend to use that to highlight my face when I want a bronzier look. So I usually start on my forehead because that's where my problem area is. So, and I like to blend it in with my wig as well. So you can start there. If you feel like you have too much, you can start over here and then drag it down like so. You know, because yes, son, Tina, of all the gifts, we're blessed with a big forehead. You know, sometimes when you're doing your bronzing and your highlighting and whatnot, sometimes it may look, what's this word? It may not look visible when you're actually doing it because of your camera or your mirror or whatever. In the mirror, it looks like it's there. In the camera, it might look a bit non-existent because of lighting. But as soon as you leave the house, you can see about, oh, okay, there's that contour. So you need to be very, very careful when you're doing your makeup. Like, make sure you're doing it in a well-lit area where you can see everything. So have your mirror here where you can see the actual reality of what you look like, you know. Because remember, with your foundation, it's still gonna oxidize, you know. So it could get more red, could get more yellow. So you want to make sure that everything lasts the whole day, but also looks good in how it looks. Just remember that I forgot a step, but it shouldn't be a train smash when I do it. So let me do my cheeks like so. So I just remembered that I forgot a certain step, but like I was saying, it's not a train smash to do it now, you know, because I mean, we're all here, everything's in front of you. So I forgot to set the rest of my face. So this part you would do after applying your banana powder, but it's not a train smash when you do it now because it blends everything else easily. So the parts that you've highlighted, just go on top, and then the rest of your skin as well to make sure it meshes in together. Obviously you're going to avoid the areas where you've contoured to make sure that it is going okay and that your face looks a bit more seamless, you know. I go over that area again that I've done, you know. So yeah, like so. If you have a bit more time, if you don't, literally in any phase you can put on your lip gloss, mascara, and be good to go. But if you have time, do your nose contour. Same brush, but use an eyeshadow brush that's a bit smaller. Pat out the excess and then start at the beginning of your brush, of your eyebrow. So start there, then work your way down at the edge of where you concealed. Yeah, well, so you will see that on the mirror, you will see that it's blending out nicely, and then you drag it down to the side so it blends in with the rest of your powders, like so. I'm not really into having that chiseled long nose. For me, if my nose looks nicely naturally contoured, I still look like myself, but nicely contoured in the mirror, then I'm okay. So blend out like so. I don't really make my nose look extra tiny because it doesn't look natural for me and how my face actually looks. At nighttime, you can do your nose with an extra contour, like extra cream contour, extra one, because in pictures it looks nice and it's the nighttime. But during the daytime, you want to try and look as natural as possible, You want to look like yourself, you know. That's just how I see it. Now to set my face, I'm using my Rimmel Instant Fix and Go setting spray, which is this one over here. Now, if you have time, you can take your beauty blender and set it into your skin. That setting spray, it does so well the finish of your face. Like, it makes your face look so good and so seamless. If you don't have time, it's okay. Like, it's really okay. You can just let it sit as it's supposed to, kakad. But if you have time, just pat it in, you know. I saw this from, I think, Alyssa Ashley a while ago, and it's something that I just always held on to, you know. So then I'm going to be doing my lip. Should I do my lips or my eyes first? I'm going to do my eyes. So I'm just going to be a brown liner. I'm using my Wet n Wild Kohl eyeliner in the shade Simmer Brown Now. Interesting. And then I'm just going to sharpen it quickly using my Essence sharpener, which I got from Clicks. But you can also get it from Dischem as well. So, like so. Then I line my eyes just over here, just to add a little bit more definition. Honestly, the best drugstore or Clicks or Discount brand eyeliners I would say is Wet n Wild and Essence. If you can just get a hand of those. If you can't afford MAC and Estee Lauder and whatever, then go for these ones, because honestly they are so pigmented and budget friendly. They give you the look you want without breaking the bank. So when I have time, I usually try and underline the top area of my eye. It creates a bit more a nice definition to my eyes. But if I don't, I just do the outer corner over there, you know, and then I'll do a little bit of the inner corner. Because if you don't have time, you end up smudging your eye and then you just look crazy and then you're gonna get upset at yourself. So rather avoid messing it up like so. There it is for me. It's not as visible on camera, but I promise you on the side it is visible. But I kind of changed the exposure of my camera, so I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse, but I hope I still look like myself. Because I don't know what just happened there while I was wiping my camera. Then I'll go in with my Maybelline Colossal what is this thing called, mascara. So obviously if you have false lashes, you don't need to do this. Do not add product to your false lashes. Don't do that. Don't be weird. But if you don't, use a nice lash like mascara like this one that's literally made for volumizing your lashes. So I like to tilt my head like so, the other side as well, you know. Just be light-handed, because sometimes you'll make the mistake and then it'll just touch on your skin and you can't remove it. So light like so, just to open up your eyes without looking too scary, you know. Like that. Then tilt your head forward like this, look like that weird meme. Then just do the bottom lash. So that's what I was trying to avoid, and now it just happened to me. It just happened to me. Now ideally on a good day you would wait for it to dry up and put on, what's this thing, you'd wait for it to dry up and take an earbud and just remove it. But I don't really mind it being this, just a small little dot. But I'm just going to tilt my face so that it doesn't spread out on my eye, then it looks like I've been crying. Then for my lips, I'm lining my lips with my brown pencil. This I got from the Chinese store. I think it was like 7 rand. But you can use any lip liner, brown liner. Brown liner, you can get it anywhere, really. Like, if there's one thing you can get anyway, it's brown liner. It's brown liner. So just gonna sharpen it a little bit. Okay. line my lips. So I usually go from the bottom lip first. So normally, if I'm sorry, depending on how long it takes me to get to work or get to school, but if I know that my class starts at 8, I will wake up at 5:30, if not 6, shower, get dressed. Then by 6:45, I'm ready. Like in terms of being dressed. 6:45, I'm ready. My class starts at 8, so depending on where it is, I've always lived in a small town. So for me, the maximum time of travel I've ever had to do is like 30 minutes maximum. So I always do, it will always take me like a good 30 to 45 minutes to do my full face if I'm really slow. But I think because of sorry about that, I don't know what just happened to my throat. Okay, so I line my lips as you just see, and then I just add a little bit more to add more definition to my lips. Then I smudge it around. So if I do have time, like let's say 6:45, that's when I'll do my makeup and decide that okay, today is the day that I do my face. But honestly, if it's almost 7, if it's closer to 7, like 5 to 7, I don't even bother, because I'm gonna be late, I'm gonna be annoyed, my face is not gonna come out the way I want it to come out, and I'm gonna be mad at everyone. So, and I like this one because it's transfer proof. So it's my MAC Retro Matte Liquid Lip Color in the shade Burnt Spice, which is this one over here. So today I think I'll go for this one because I'm not really going out. I'm not really, yeah. I'll go for this one actually. Stretch it out. Yeah, it is. Like so. So that's what I'll go for. But if you want to top off with gloss, that's perfectly fine. But I think just for today, I'll just go for my matte lip gloss, my matte lipstick, and then this other Essence matte liquid lipstick that I have. I think I want to add it to the center of my lips. So I think I'll just add that here. It feels like it's the same shade, or is it just me? I wanted to create an ombre, but it feels like it's actually the same shade. Okay. Let's put on some earrings, some gold earrings. Just put on my gold watch. I'm literally about to get out the house now. I have a client. For the time's now 11:15. I'll have a client that whose nails I'm gonna do at 12, and I need to go to run a few errands. I think just 1 or 2 errands really, and come back. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I'm actually into this. I'm into this look. It again needs a wash. I wore it so many times and I haven't washed it, and as a result it's just like very shifty at the back, but it's, you know, poly at the front. We look very cute at the front, and that's literally all that matters to me. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.